Hey there, guys. It's the Fluffy Printer coming at you. As you noticed in my first video, I did explain that I am a complete novice when it comes down to 3D printing. And I wanted to explore this journey with everybody else and what I have learned, and hopefully share what I have learned throughout the process with my 3D printer, which is a FlashForge AD5X multicolor printer. So far, I've had it since about October of 2025, and I have not had any problems with this thing. This thing is a beast. Now, I know that there's other people that have problems, but that's something I have yet to encounter. But today, I do want to talk about the size setup for our prints. Now, the AD5X has a build plate of 220 by 220 by 220 millimeters, so which means that's our maximum volume that we can use to print. So let's go ahead and talk about sizing when it comes down to our prints. Now, I already have my FlashForge Orca program up and running, and I already have a file already on there, which is a cute little knitted spider, which is one that I've been looking forward to doing one of these days. But right now, it is just a knitted spider. So we're going to go ahead and click on it. Now we have three main objects. We have all of these options up here to choose from. In order for sizing, we need this one. It looks like a box with 4 arrows on each corner, which is called a scale. All right. We have a thing right here called uniform scale. Right now, we're going to have it checked. The reason why we're going to have it checked is when we start to change the size of it, whatever one of these we choose, it will scale in size. So let's choose the corner here. I am now changing the size of it, which has now brought it up to this amount, which is 164.86%, which isn't bad. But understand that the further you go up, the bigger it's going to get. So we got to keep an eye on the uniform size here. We're going to keep an eye on the scale. You can actually use the red mark here and the green mark here to help determine your full size on here. So you can take it and keep scaling. But see, that didn't scale correctly. It only did that. You got to keep it right here in order to scale. So you keep scaling, scaling, scaling until you feel you are far enough in. But if you go too far, you're going to get an error. The error does explain that you are too far outside of the build plate, so we will not be able to print. So let's go ahead and bring it down to say right there, which leaves us just a little less than a square on each side. Okay, that works, right? So now we got a scale that's we now have a spider that's nearly 200 millimeters wide. That is quite the large spider. But understand, the bigger you go, the longer the print will be. And for me, I already have everything all set up in here. So I will be changing the eye color. And sometimes having it bigger also helps with coloring. So let me quickly get this colored in. There, done. Now, you notice that the bigger it is, now that we've got an issue with the with our prime tower. The good thing is the prime tower is easily moved. So now we're moved out of the way. So since we're looking at this, I'm going to be printing with the silk for the main body, but the rest of it's going to be your basic PLA, which I seem to have a great accomplish with. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's slice it. Now, because of how big it is, we got to keep in mind that it will take some time to go ahead and figure out the amount of time it needs for a print. So if you notice, it's going to take a little bit. My computer is freezing up because it's trying to create the G code. So I'll just sit here and wait a minute and see what happens. So See, it's taking its time because just how large it is. And if you notice, my computer is still freezing up. This is why you gotta let it do its thing. So like I said, the bigger it is, the more time it takes. This is why we're doing this in real time, so you can see what is going on. So I'm going to turn the camera back off for a little bit. All right. Now it's generating the G code. Now that most of it has been all the hard part is taken care of. My computer is now working its magic again. But again, it's got so many layers to go ahead and generate the G code for. So, yes, I like to make weird noises. It helps pass the time for me. And it's just about done generating. There we go. But if you notice, look at the time now. We're at 19 and a half hours. With only 110 color changes. And that's mainly because of the eyes. So I'm going to move this back out of the way. Go back to prepare. And now my computer is going to run a little better. Now that we're no longer in that area. So we're going to go ahead and rescale this back down. We're just going to bring it back to 100%. All right. Now that's there. Now if we hit the slice to plate, you're going to notice that it's going to go faster now for slicing. Because now it's no longer as hard. It's no longer as big. So it's not going to have an issue trying to figure it out. So I'm going to put this on silent for a minute and put it on the camera. Alright, now that the slice is done, if you notice, look at the amount of time it needs. It only needs 2.5 hours compared to what it was originally. So, which is actually great. So you got to remember, the bigger you go, the longer it'll take. But look at the lines here. You can see where all my supports are. Which is great, which is perfectly fine. Because honestly, that's where the supports are going to be needed. Which is okay. So hopefully the sizing video here helps you understand what's going on, what needs to be done, and what your limits are. So this is the Fluffy Printer. Happy printing, everybody.